Pope Francis challenged governments on Sunday to take drastic measures to combat global warming and reduce the use of fossil fuels, saying the world was experiencing a climate emergency.
Here's a summary of the article.
Vatican City, Pope Francis challenged governments on Sunday to take drastic measures to combat global warming and reduce the use of fossil fuels, saying the world was experiencing a climate emergency. Francis issued his appeal, a written message for Sunday's World Day of Prayer for the Care of Creation, ahead of the United Nations Climate Action Summit this month in New York, a follow-up to the 2016 Paris Agreement to curb global warming. Governments will have the responsibility of showing the political will to take drastic measures to achieve as quickly as possible zero net greenhouse gas emissions and to limit the average increase in global temperature to 1.5 degrees Celsius with respect to pre-industrial levels, in accordance with the Paris Agreement goals. Francis has made many calls for environmental protection and has clashed over climate change with skeptics leaders such as U.S. President Donald Trump, who has taken the United States out of the Paris Accord. "We have caused a climate emergency that gravely threatens nature and life itself, including our own," the leader of the world's 1.3 billion Roman Catholics said in the message for the Prayer Day, which is marked by various Christian churches. "Our prayers and appeals are directed first at raising the awareness of political and civil leaders," he said, adding that governments should renew commitments decisive for directing the planet towards life, not death. He listed constant pollution, continued use of fossil fuels, intensive agricultural exploitation and deforestation as being among the man-made causes of global warming and said the Amazon, where fires are raging, is gravely threatened.
This post received a score of 15,745, with an upvote ratio of 91%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Not related to the actual content here. But could they have picked one of the myriad thousands of pictures of the Pope where he isn't yawning?
It's because he's tired of our bullshit.
Apparently so is Christ.
He should get out of the business of only making lesser beings.
I have to agree. But Christ's purpose in this life is to make us greater. Or teach us how to make ourselves greater. Not sure it's possible. We are a bunch of idiots, we are. The greater we think we are, the lesser we do become.
Jesus was an idiot just like everyone else on earth.
Returning the revenue as an equitable dividend, in fact, and allows for a higher carbon price which, because enacting a border tax would protect domestic businesses from foreign producers not saddled with similar pollution taxes, and also to enact their own, are that failing to mitigate climate change will cost us 10% of GDP over 50 years. In contrast, carbon taxes may actually boost GDP, if the revenue is the which, not to mention and save lives taxing carbon it and which in poor countries, in the first place. The U.S., according to most of the $5.2 trillion in subsidies for fossil fuels come from not taxing carbon as we should. There is general agreement among economists on carbon taxes whether you consider or it is literally Econ 101 the idea.
How about we start by stripping subsidies for fossil fuels?
Same thing.
He needs to make a big push for electric cars, so Catholics can start shouting, Deus Volt.
Why doesn't he put Brazil under the interdict until this is dealt with?
Why not tell his congregation to use green energy companies, not buy the products of or work for polluters, and that our culture of consumption is sinful? Catholics are obliged to listen to him, governments, not so much.
I mean, not really. It's a give to Caesar what is Caesar's scenario. Within Catholicism, the Pope is the ultimate authority on matters of theology. He doesn't have absolute authority over non-theological issues. This is why the Pope is only infallible on certain issues, mostly regarding the teachings of the Church.
As a matter of theology, he's effectively announced that the climate crisis is not an act of God. It's a pretty big step, taking the wind out of the sails of many dumb denier arguments. I've heard only God can control the weather as an argument before. Now all I have to refute that is point to the Pope.
To be fair, the dumb ones are mainly the evangelicals, and I doubt they give the Pope much weight. If they did, they would not preach hate.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.